Hi, I'm Churchill. I'm a martial arts instructor and I have early onset Parkinson's disease. I was diagnosed when I was 42 years old. So I started showing symptoms of Parkinson's about 10-15 years ago. I was on antidepressants for a while for post-traumatic stress disorder, and the side effects of the tablets were horrendous. When I stopped taking the tablets, the symptoms carried on. I spoke to my GP about it, and he said, well, that's not symptoms of that's not side effects, that's symptoms of something else. And back and forth, I made a joke. I made a comment about my brother making a joke, saying that I've always been a bit shaky. You look like you've got Parkinson's. And I pointed that out to the GP, and he said, well, it kind of fits. So I went to a neurologist, and then several years of tests and stuff, and then got the diagnosis. My main symptoms are worse around my neck. I've got when I'm relaxing, a little twitch that kind of pulls my chin up like that for no real reason, but swallowing, chewing, I bite my tongue a lot more, bite my cheeks a lot more, trying to cough and things like this. Everything sort of around my neck, even breathing sometimes goes wrong somehow. I've also get a bit of a tremor in my left hand, which is pretty much everyone with Parkinson's gets that. It's a fairly common thing. It's not too bad with me. I can still hold focus mitts for people to hit without moving around too much. I get a little bit sort of brain foggy now and again. It takes me a second to remember things, takes me a few seconds to process things. What else? Insomnia is a terrible one. I only sleep for a couple of hours at a time now. Can't remember is another main one. I can't remember things as well. There's the fibromyalgia type pains, which is just a random stabbing pain for just no reason. The worst one, it feels like a knitting needle's going in there and out there. And there's nothing there, there's nothing wrong with the muscle, doesn't matter what I do, the pain just carries on. Because it's not real pain, it's just the nerves misfiring and telling me there's a pain there when there isn't. So no amount of, whatever, rubbing it or tensing it makes it better. That's a pain. Hidden symptoms is an odd one. Early on, just after the diagnosis, my wife and I sort of talked about whether we tell everyone or no one. I didn't want to tell family and then not tell some people and stuff, so it's either all or nothing. Made the decision to just tell everyone and try and bring a bit of awareness to the disease and the fact that it's not just old people and in their 70s and 80s. I try and keep all the symptoms hidden. I still try and be the me that everybody's known for years. So every symptom is hidden to a degree. But there's things like, the shaky hand. I've got a tendency to keep my left hand in my pocket, or I'll hold my left hand, or move it too much if I'm holding pads. They're constantly on the move, so nobody can see the fact that there is a bit of a twitch. If it's moving around, you can't see it. So I try and hide everything. But like I said for the last question, most of the answers I gave for the main symptoms are hidden symptoms. People hear Parkinson's, they think shaking, and that's it. But there's literally hundreds. I think I saw a list once with over 300 symptoms of Parkinson's, and everyone gets something different. That's just the way that Parkinson's works. My brain doesn't connect properly with the nervous system on a really basic sort of layman's terms. And my brain decides which bits of the body to keep working. So some people lose control of their left arm. Other people lose control of their right foot. Some people lose control of their heart or their lungs or their kidneys or whatever. So, it's different for everyone, but all the main problematic symptoms are hidden. Only really shakiness, the tremors, aren't.
How do you think your diagnosis affected the people around you?
When Mr. Churchill got his diagnosis of Parkinson's, I was devastated. It meant that we were going to have changes to the club. it meant that we were going to have changes to our friendship, and then we had to find different ways of kind of making things work better.
So initially I was obviously worried about him because, you know, it's quite a big thing to happen to someone. I was worried how it would impact our, not training, but like the way he'd be able to teach, and like more like the way, like I didn't want him to be able to would have to stop training, because I know it's something he's really passionate about and teaching is something he really enjoyed. So yeah, I was just worried about him, really.
Obviously the stress of housing-wise and losing his job in his first martial arts instructing place, but then starting a new company meant I could join martial arts again, and I made lots of friends there, and so it really impacted me in a good way, to be honest.
Diagnosis of anything is going to affect the people around you, because anyone that's around you cares about you. So if you get diagnosed with anything, people are going to be all sympathetic and stuff. But I've noticed mainly it's made the people around me blind. Nobody notices it when my head twitches around. Nobody says anything. People are kind of like, oh, didn't even look, wasn't looking when he did that. You know, nobody ever sees these things. So there's a massive increase in politeness and blindness to it. I know it's happening, obviously. I can sort of see it a lot of the time. So yeah, other than that, it's made me realise who cares. Obviously, family and cares and friends care and that. But a couple of years ago, a whole load of students' parents all got together and organised a parachute jump out of an aeroplane to raise money for Parkinsons. And that was awesome. I can't believe they did that. My dad did it as well, and he was in his 70s at the time, which is fantastic. One of my students, two students, and she used to train as well for a while, abseiled down a waterfall to raise money for Parkinsons, and that's a big thing. I stood at the top of the waterfall and was terrified, let alone getting strapped up and jumping down it. So it's things like that from people that you don't necessarily expect it from really makes you feel awesome. You know, it's the support from so many different people, not just the ones that jumped out of the plane, but just the general level of support from everyone has been superb.
No, I wouldn't say it impacts our working relationship. Obviously, you have to be like wary about hitting him in the head, and like can't go like full, like I don't want to go whacking him and throwing him around. But no, I think we still train, still have a good time. Everything's still pretty normal.
In our working relationship, we needed to find different ways of putting things together, or coming up with ways of supporting him and making sure that he had something in the room. So if his balance was going off a little bit, or needing something demonstrated, that we had someone there that we could do the demonstrations a little bit more.
Martial arts makes a big difference in the fight against Parkinson's. There's all sorts of studies that have gone on. There's a company in America that do boxing for people with Parkinson's, because the physical fitness makes a big difference fighting any disease. But with this, because it's a body and neurological sort of thing, physical exercise and the muscle strength and all this sort of thing really makes a difference to keep the nerves working, keep the neurons firing and everything else. But martial arts, more so than boxing, no offence to boxers, there's a lot more to think about, because you're using your kicks and your knees and your elbows as well as just your fists. So there's such a huge amount of body movement. Keeps you fit, keeps your muscles fit, but your brain's constantly active with it as well. Stepping where, which kick should I do next? Should I do an elbow or follow it up with a punch? There's so many combinations and things. You have to be mentally switched on. In doing martial arts, it makes a huge difference and slows the progression. Nothing's ever going to stop the progression of Parkinson's. You just can't. But this really slows it down, and it's been a few years since my diagnosis, and I'm still not actually on any tablets, any drugs to stop or to slow down the Parkinson's. Long may that continue, because the side effects of the tablets are worse than the disease from what I've heard. So it makes a massive difference, and it also makes a massive difference teaching it and having to think it and act it out and demonstrate it in slow motion, which is horribly tough to do. So yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere near as good as I am right now if it wasn't for martial arts. So the other things that help that I haven't already mentioned is probably the students. My students are just a fantastic bunch of people. They give me a reason to keep going. Obviously, family, my kids, my wife, my parents, wife's parents, all these people are wonderful and amazing. My friends are great, but they've always been wonderful and amazing. They've always been great.
How do you think you've helped in his battle with Parkinson's?
I think I've made sure I've kept him obviously the whole way through, so writing the curriculum and everything.
So in the start, when we started setting up the club and things that we've got at the moment, I helped by doing quite a lot of the paperwork and things. I helped with kind of support of making sure that we knew what we were doing legally and things, because I've got a little bit of a background in that.
I helped with medication and stuff and remembering to take it. I go to a lot of appointments with him.
If a move just really doesn't work, or if it's all just too complicated, because if I can't understand, then I've got a simple mind anyway.
On a day-to-day basis, I'm kind of the sounding board with other people of kind of, if he comes up with an idea, we talk it through and we come up with ways of doing it better.
And also supporting martial arts and stuff, and I go on Mondays and Fridays and help assist.
And then I've trained with him a couple of times with people to make sure he can still get his fitness and training with the people he should be training with.
I love going to work. You know, I've got the greatest job in the world, teaching these eager students that want to learn more, and I get to hit them and they pay me for it. You know, can't think of a better job than that. So it's a massively positive outlook on life. Goes a long, long way. You know, like I said in one of the earlier questions we spoke about, the depression is one of the things, not just the fact that it's a depressing idea to be my age and get a disease that makes you feel like you're 90 years old every time you wake up in the morning. But I got such a wonderful family and such wonderful friends and such awesome students and a great job. It makes you want to get up in the morning. It makes me want to get out of bed and come to work and do what I do. And then I want to go home and see my family, and then it just, every day is fantastic, and I will fight for every single day because I don't want to stop doing this, ever. So I want to be 150 years old and still teaching martial arts. Having that positive outlook on life and the ability to laugh at Parkinson's is great. You've got to laugh at it. I started a website, I haven't had time to do much with it, called Soup Days Are Over, which is a joke on the whole halcyon days are over. The fact that Parkinson's people struggle to eat soup because you just end up spilling it everywhere. So Soup Days Are Over, that sums it up for me. Have a laugh. What else can I do? Cry about it? What difference are you going to make? Just get on, just laugh. Carry on doing what I enjoy doing. I'm going to do that anyway, disease or no disease. It.